Hi, I'm Adam Asness from Lingoport, and I'm going to give a quick whiteboard talk about the issues around supporting internationalization and localization when you're in an agile environment in particular. Now, many of these things I'm going to talk about also apply if, let's say, you're still using waterfall, or a lot of companies are using a combination of the two. But go with me here on this. Now, internationalization, just very briefly, when I talk about internationalization, that's different than localization in that, to summarize, when we talk about internationalization, we're talking about adapting software, the source code, so it's capable of supporting locale requirements. So that means a different UI in terms of language. It may mean other preferences in workflow. It may mean things like supporting different date-time formattings, numerical formattings, different series of character sets and the like. So there's a long list of things involved with building an internationalized application right at the source code development point. And this is a big pain point because there's no really good way to measure that up until now while you were developing. And yet, globally, international business is a very, very important part of companies' user bases as people are finding that they're getting international customers, whether they're mean to or not these days. So this is a very critical requirement going forward for software development. Now, localization is changing the UI language. So this is more focused on the words for the most part. There may be some layout issues and the like, but this focuses on words. And the issue is if you're in an agile sprint and you changed one aspect of your UI and you have, let's say, 10 words that have changed, but the localization department doesn't find out about that till later, that's an issue because it's hard to keep up with it. And it's a lot of overhead for, say, 10 words or 100 words. You get the idea. It's not the full product. So there are some very natural challenges. I seem to have misplaced my eraser, and we're going fast. I want to make a little bit more room. So around internationalization and localization, there are some natural challenges. Now remember, when you're building an agile application, there are certain benefits around that. And if I could draw a quick graph, I'm going to put dollars, cost, and time. I'm kind of equating them on one axis, and this I'm going to put the activities. So here you have design. If you, sorry about my handwriting. If you're dealing with internationalization and localization flow during design, that's a really good thing, but in a perfect world, everybody would understand what that requirement meant and add that into the application. But also in a perfect world, there would be no bugs. So that doesn't really work. But the cost at design is very low to include those requirements. When you're writing software, so the coding perspective, the developer, if they are including internationalization and localization in terms of their mindset going forward, also the cost is very low. And let's say you have a tester coordinated with that team. They're doing, the coder's doing unit test, and then the tester is kind of embedded in that team. Costs get a little higher there, and a little higher yet with the tester. And the reason why the cost is a little higher is that they find something that they got to go back and fix stuff. Now it's fairly immediate, but the issue here is, how do you test for internationalization and localization when you're early in the process? Well, to date, what people have been doing is a process called pseudo-localization, and pseudo-localization is great, don't get me wrong, but people talk about it like it's the be-all, end-all, and it's really, really not. In fact, it forces you into this test stage, and more likely, where you're at is a bigger test stage, or even after localization that you're testing. Now, once you're up there, your costs are way up here because you've got to have you know, the project manager has to report the bug, it has to be reviewed, it has to be then fixed, and let's say it gets fixed, but it creates another bug, it gets caught in testing again, and you get a loop. It's very natural. This is just how it goes. So this is not the place where you want to find things. And that is the way the system is built, even if you're really pretty advanced on your internationalization and localization testing. Now, what I'm proposing here is something new. We've always talked about this with Globalyzer at the code level, finding things, but we've just found a way and packaged it up to make this so easy. There are no tools to learn for the developer, nothing at all. We're simply taking that point of which people are writing code and integrating with the source code, and we set it up. It's good to go, and in a dashboard you see things like charts and the like and itemized issues that say, hey, you have this amount of issues, there's a drill down point, and you go literally right to the point in the code base, the line of code of where that issue is. So again, over here, you're testing, and you say, oh, I found something in the interface that's wrong. First of all, there's a problem with that in that not everything's in the interface. You just can't find everything in the interface to begin with because it's hard to test everything and see it all. The second thing is the nature of internationalization is it's not all about UI. You may be passing a string through your application in such a way that it gets deprecated further down the line or broken in some format like a date-time format. You just never see it if you're looking for it here with pseudo-localization alone. Now remember, I'm not saying pseudo-localization stinks, you shouldn't use it. You should use it, but it belongs here in testing, not here. What we're doing is we're seeing at the source code level what's going on regarding internationalization. The second thing we're tracking is we're tracking at the code level if there's been a change to the UI, if there's been a change to the resource files. And then we're doing things like verifying issues like is there a proper allocation of the resource file key? Are you duplicating keys? Are you properly handling and building those files? And so we source those for violations and the like, and can then automatically package these localization ready files for localization. When you get them back, we automatically insert them in the code. So you have integrated internationalization, checking code as you go. The localization team actually sees the clear changes that they're going to have to deal with when they're ready to localize. We verify that, so there's no going back and fixing localization files. There's no need to. Package it up. When the localization is ready, we reinsert that in the code automatically. We've now just allowed you not to have this big backlog after release, and it's all automated. By the way, also built to be very affordable. It's a SaaS-oriented solution that you can pay for monthly, quarterly, or annually, and it's very, very reasonable. No tools to learn. We're going to be talking about this in detail on July 31st. There's a webinar, Continuous i18n and L10n in every sprint. We probably spelled it fully out on the website. i18n is short for internationalization, L10n is short for localization. I didn't make up those. They're real. They're real. Anyway, go to Lingoport.com and sign up for that webinar if you're viewing this before July 31st, 2013. If it's after that, go to our site anyway, click on the resources section, go to the library on webinars, and you'll be able to search on that and see the recording after it's done. Thank you very much, and please watch more of our videos and visit Lingoport.com. I almost forgot. I was supposed to say something. I was supposed to say Globalyzer Express. The product I'm talking about is called Globalyzer Express. I forgot to say that. That's kind of important. Thanks.